Dummy of the week.
What a time
Safety
disappeared.
Wow, look at that.
It's safety time.
Safety
It's safety
time.
time. All right. So we've
For our
decided-
listeners, Ty is now wearing a hard hat.
yes, this is making me sad.
That wasn't edited in, right, Danny?
No, that was there. Right, so like dummy of the week, it's more to that resources we found on the internet and other places that sometimes it may be unsafe. It might just be someone's done something really silly. It could just be one of those situations that it's worth discussing within the industry, because a lot of people don't understand some of these things, and if we can again share and educate, the better it is. So I have a little video to share and we're going to have a discussion about. Let's get that up. Okay, so what you guys are seeing now is a coffee delivery via drone. So I believe this was down in New South Wales.
Canberra.
Canberra, there you go. So there has been drone deliveries in place, and you'll notice the crow coming to have a stab at the drone. It's one of those things I always talk about is birds and the problems that they pose. And this is a perfect example of that. So you see, he almost came back for another dig as well.
Oh.
Pay for his own damn coffee.
Is that a coffee or a milkshake?
Yeah, your coffee. I don't know how much coffee's left inside. So yeah, over to you guys. I want to have a bit of a discussion about it. Get your views on the drone delivery space, and obviously the lack of visual line of sight and everything like that. I don't know whether they thought about the bird problem or not. But just to get a bit of a perspective on it and share that with our listeners about how this could be potentially mitigated. The problem that is obvious in this one is the bird. But yeah, just have a bit of discussion about it.
Straight off the bat, spring is not the best season to be flying around drones in general. I think honestly about 90% of the jobs I've done this spring already I've had to deal with a crow or a magpie or a plover of some sort. That's even before you get to the whole drone delivery part.
And that's with you actually watching the drone.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Let alone these drones that are doing the deliveries, they're flying roughly a couple of kilometers from their HQ, well beyond visual line of sight. They've obviously got the right permits for that. There's a lot of issues with that, including birds.
Do you think, Danny, that this space is going to work as everyone's hoping it will?
No, I can only see
why is that?
Pacific corridor. Well, airspace is massive. Like if you take, say, hypothetically, just take Sydney Harbour, it's a restricted airspace because there's already so much air traffic there. So if you live next to it, even just a small airport right now, what's to say that your drone is going to be able to fly straight over that airport with your coffee?
Mm-hmm.
There's going to be a lot of, don't get me wrong, it probably will eventually happen, but there's a lot more than just, hey, I need my coffee delivery from A to B.
Yeah.
There's a lot in between that, is the drone going to fly through other airspace? Is there another drone doing a real estate video that's going to fly past it? Is a sub 2 kilo operator that no one knows is there?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I know they have some limitations at the moment on where they can use them. I know I heard of another case, a hardware store actually. They've taken the drone delivery on board for the fact of delivering nails, tools, etc. to building sites, rather than the tradie having to come out to go when they run out of nails, come back into the hardware, waste time going to grab that and going back. They were limited to a 1.5 K radius of the shop. I didn't know that bit. I can see the upsides of it as well. Like obviously the drone delivery system in theory is a great idea, but like you were saying, the lack of visual line of sight, you don't know who else is in the air. It'd be interesting to have someone that's in this space actually come and have a chat about it, because I don't think our knowledge is super great on all this. But the things I noticed from that, they probably thought a little bit about potential bird problems and things because of due to amount of props that are on the damn thing. I think that's the only reason that it didn't come out of the sky when that crow got right into the tail of it.
If that was a quadcopter, it's gone.
Yeah.
A Phantom or a Mavic or anything like that, that's gone. That is on the ground in 1,000 pieces. You know, it's painful. I mean, I've had some close calls where you're out doing a job and you have that bird that just won't leave you alone.
Oh, yeah.
They quite often don't generally go in and actually have a dig, but it is a concern. I mean, it's so unsafe. If something drops out of the sky and there's someone underneath there or whatever, that's a huge problem. And I think that's probably, in my view, the biggest issue with the drone delivery system is lack of visual line of sight and the lack of being able to act quickly in a bad situation.
You know, this could be a good idea for the next guest to come on. If anyone knows anyone that's in the visual line of sight or extended visual line of sight, you know, hit us up via our socials, which we'll put in the comment sections and whatnot.
Sure.
It'd be really cool to actually get some actual industry insights. You know,
Yeah, I do
we're just
believe
talking about opinion. This is all just our opinions right now and what we know.
Yeah, 100%. I do believe, from what I remember, obviously they're doing that in Canberra. There was some deliveries going on in New South Wales. I know they were testing up here in Queensland and Logan. I believe pizza deliveries, which they were also doing in New Zealand, the Domino's as well. They were delivering pizzas via drone. I haven't heard too much more since they announced they were doing it. I don't know what the success was with it, whether they've decided to keep going with it and keep trialing it or just can it all together. But it would be really interesting to get someone in that space in here to have a chat, because I'd love to learn more about it and the concept of what they're working with to make it safe and practical.
Yeah, I was thinking if you're just doing deliveries to us in metro areas, or, you know, where there's coffees, I think I personally don't see the gain right now. But as we all know, the remote communities, whether you need medicines or vaccines, you know, there's a number of countries clearly like us that are quite spread out in territory-wise. The costs are high. Obviously, we're going to use planes, but there's probably ways to kind of reduce some of that where there's absolute essentials that people can't get to. Certainly when it's something that needs to be done urgently.
Yeah.
So I think if we can find safe ways to achieve that, I think that's great. But you know, for me to get my coffee because it's convenient to me, and the risks are so high today without real true governance in airspace. God,
in the modern day and age, mate, we all live for convenience.
Yeah.
Honestly, if I could walk out front right now and get my coffee, I'd be so happy.
But I think you're right, Sean, on the use cases there. I think when you look at, you know, a good example is funnily enough Melbourne, Victoria at the moment. With you guys all in lockdown, there is obviously cases where there will be people who need medical attention quickly or need medication quickly and things like that. That is a great use case for it. I agree with you. The coffee, the pizzas, the random little edible objects you can get delivered. I mean, they're kind of pointless for what they are. They're just purely a lazy convenience thing. I don't believe it's safe, but again, I'm not in that space, so I don't actually understand how they're making it safe essentially to do so.
And what about, so like, I guess where my mind goes as well is drones isn't just UAVs. Drones are robotics as well. So would you guys think the drone space, not from a UAV perspective, but potentially, you know, going down the path of what Tesla autonomous driving and things like that, they might come into like an Uber space where it's drone delivery via their cars or little robots or something like that?
There's a company over in San Diego, I think. Veritasium did a video on them a couple of weeks back, and they're purely autonomous. You essentially Uber, you know, go on your Uber app or whatever it is and call up your taxi and it rocks up, no one in the car. You sit in the back. And it was an awesome video. Go check it out. And he went across town by himself, just sitting there. That's one of the concepts for it.
The autonomous is wild. I've seen a guy driving a Tesla S on the highway reading his paper while he's driving down the highway. Totally illegal, but you know, it's
why not?
It is where everything is going. We are heading towards an autonomous world in that regard. So, you know, I'm not surprised that drone delivery is becoming a thing, but yes, the question over how safe it actually genuinely is for everybody else around in those flight paths.
You look at it, it's still early days. Like as we're saying, construction, Ben's been in for 5+ years. How much has that changed, and how long have we been doing drone deliveries? Like,
yeah, I think it's about 2 years that they've been testing between New Zealand. I only know in Australia and New Zealand. I mean, I'm not sure as far as overseas goes, but I think it's about 2 years now, and they still haven't officially launched it. So they're definitely obviously having problems that they need to mitigate and work out how to fix these things. But again, like, that's why I'd really love to talk to someone in this space to get a better idea of how they're tackling this.
For sure. Because Amazon announced a couple of years ago as well that they were going into the drone space, and
that's been very quiet.
There's been absolutely no news come out of that. No, out of all people, businesses, companies, I thought Amazon would have been pretty quick to the market.
I believe they are testing. I do believe they are still testing, but they're doing a lot quieter than a lot of the other companies.
They're going to space before they're doing deliveries.
Right. Yeah, well, honestly, look at the bigger picture here. If you were Jeff Bezos, do you want to worry about delivering coffee, or do you want to jump in a spaceship?
Yeah,
I know which one I'm jumping on.
See you later.
Let's go hang out with the aliens for a while. See what they've got to chat about.
Yeah, interesting space.
It is. And we're only just at the beginning of it. Episode 1, guys. Wait for the next one.
That's it. Cool. That was certainly an awesome video to start with. Obviously, like we said, we're all excited to get our coffees delivered. Certainly on the crow or whatever bird it is attacking it. So yeah.
Mate, I want my coffee to get there, so I'll still go for traditional route at the moment.
Can you imagine if they're standing under that drone when the bird attacked and the coffee's just hopped open, still hot? There's a whole other kettle of fish.
So many problems with it.
I think like Danny, called out, anyone in the space doing it involved would be awesome to kind of have you part of it and talk 100%. Through some of the challenges and where you're at.
I've got one person in mind. We definitely got to hit them up.
Okay, awesome.
I like the way you work, Danny.
Network.
Cool. So that's our. Don't know so who's the dummy there? Was the bird or the drone?
Well, I actually think it's the bird, to be honest. I mean, the drone, we know our potential issues with it, but obviously they're testing, they're doing it, so they must be fairly moving forward with it. But the bird, I've never understood birds attacking drones. They're loud, they're noisy, and essentially to them, they will chop them up. So I just don't know why they attack them. I really don't.
Territorial.
That's actually something that it would be worth looking at in the drone space is how to deter birds from drones, really, because I'm yet to see a drone deter a bird properly anyway.
I've put little faces on all my drones, but that doesn't scare them off. Anything been a loud object, they'd fly away. But
I think the bigger drones are a threat. The bigger drones that they're not going to, like, I don't see a crow coming in to have a stab at an M300 or an M600.
I had a bird go us last week using our big drone. They kept coming.
Really?
Yep.
Did they actually have a swipe, or they just?
There's a few times where I can see the bird's eye in the photos.
Wow.
Yeah. All right. Well, I stand corrected then.